Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Rick Uzzi from Zcorum and it's Tech Tuesday. Today I'm going to be talking about some updates that we did just last week in TruVizion. I'll be right back. Hi, again, thanks for joining me for Tech Tuesday. So we did an update last week of TruVizion. Not a lot of major changes, but I always like to send an email out, and if I get a chance, maybe explain some of what we did. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to bring up TruVizion. So you may be a TruVizion customer and looking at this as somebody who wants to know maybe what's new in the application. If you're not a customer, you still may want to check this out and see what TruVizion can do for you. It's a diagnostics platform for DOCSIS and fiber networks if you are trying to manage those, so it can be very helpful. So let's take a quick look and see what we have here. So what I'm using today are screenshots since I'm using a live system, so I had to blur out some stuff. So I'm going to go through some screenshots here. So this is what you, when you log in for the very first time, or first time in a day, let's say daily, you'll get this main screen, and normally you can query customers, and you can go to the Network Navigator here, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But in this case, I'm going to be talking about one of the changes that we made, which we added to one of the reports. If you go up here to the reports and click that, and these two particular reports here, your upstream MAC domain bandwidth and downstream MAC domain bandwidth, we added a couple of averages here, which some people have requested. A lot of times when we make changes to TruVizion, it's requests from customers. So that's what we did here. So I went ahead, and when I was making the screenshots, I clicked on the upstream MAC domain. And when you get this, you'll get your report form that you can complete. You want to select a CMTS. In this case, there's just one. So any or that one I would select. Then you can select your start date with defaulting to when I did this yesterday, which was the 16th. So you can leave it as it is, or I've selected the 1st. And then once you select those items, you click Run, and your report will run. So that's what we're looking at here. So what we added, again, you see the upstream max figure and the upstream average figure, and that's good to know. So that's kind of your max transfer during this time frame, and then your average transfer during this time frame. So that's good information to know. What people asked for was an average, and that's important to know as well, because that kind of gives you a good idea of the actual utilization that you're looking at if you're trying to kind of plan how much throughput you have on that particular MAC domain. So here again, you're seeing that, and you can sort by any of these. So let's say I want to look at my upstream average on that. I can click that and sort, and that's showing me then from highest to lowest. So again, that's good for planning purposes, or just if you're trying to get a handle on how much usage you have in your MAC domains, trying to maybe balance those out. This is a good way to do that, because your percent is going to be related to the size, so to speak. So that's what we've added there. So we added that max percentage and that average percentage right there. Also, another item in the reports that we made a change to was this one right here. So this RF levels by node report. And we didn't actually make a change to the report itself. We improved the performance. And the issue on this one was that when we had, with operators that had a lot of subscribers on one CMTS, they might have, if they had 10,000, 15,000 subscribers on a CMTS, this report was taking a really long time to load. So they refactored that and improved the performance. So I'll just go through this just so you're familiar with this report if you're haven't seen it already. So same kind of thing, you're going to choose your CMTS, and when you do that, you can leave it as any if you have more than one, or you can select one. I believe you can leave it as any. And then you've got, maybe not in that case, but then you can leave the nodes by any, and or you can select one. In this case, I left it as any. You can also, if you have active legs identified in the system, then you can choose an active leg as well, or you can leave that as any. And then some other things you can do here, you've got, you can see you've got the modem's health, so you can look at all the modems on this node, or if you wanted to look at only those that are offline, you can do that. That can be helpful at times. Maybe you got an outage or something, you're wanting to see if you've got an unusual number of modems offline. You can look at only those that have an alert, and that would be an alert on something like RF levels, like SNR or upstream power, downstream power, that kind of thing. And then you've got, also here you can check your vendor, or select a vendor. So for example, I could select any one of these vendors. That might be if you had maybe a recent firmware update and something's not quite right. You want to see if all particular modems of a particular manufacturer or a model are impacted. So for example, I selected ARIS, and then once you select ARIS, you can leave that as any models, or you can select a specific one if you wanted to. I left it any in this case, and then once you've got all that selected, again, you're going to click Run, and that report's going to pull up. So again, we didn't make a change to this report. We just made it where it's going to load faster if you're on a very large CMTS. I don't think it was really that noticeable for a CMTS that maybe had 3,000 or 4,000 devices, but again, if you were up to 10,000, 15,000, I think it was taking a long time. So you can see here the sort seems to be by name, and in this case, what we're seeing here at the top, since they're numbers really, are unauthorized modems, meaning modems that we see these as modems that don't have a customer name or address. So they're just devices that are on the network. It could be that this particular operator didn't put the name and address in there, although generally we're either integrated with their billing system or they're putting it in via file or entering it manually, and they're usually putting in that information. So sometimes it can be devices where somebody just buys something at the store, they plug it in, and they don't call the cable operator, and it's going to come online with, we'll set it like a no service config where they're not really going to get any service, but the device is showing online. Or it could be that the customer account information was deleted and the modem was not, so it's sitting in there. We don't know why. But again, I can sort, I can go ahead and sort here. In this case, whoops, over here, I sorted by upstream transmit power. And when I click that, it's going to sort by that. And you can see in this case, it did pull up. I blurred it all out, but it did pull up some customer information with their name, address, city. And these are going to be my worst values for upstream transmit power on this node. And you can see these are all really, really high here. So they're all in red. You've got some other things you can look at here for each one of these subscribers. So I can see some of them are in a warning stage, not necessarily an alert stage, yellow here. And again, you've got your customer information here. And anytime you see one of these reports where you've got subscriber information, you can click on the subscriber and it will pull up their cable modem diagnostic screen, and then you can drill in on that particular subscriber and see everything that's going on. So in this case, I'm also going to, when I started saying that this is another way to get to that same report we're just looking at. So right now I'm looking at the modem status by node panel, and I was mentioning that we have modem status by channel, but a lot of our affiliates thought that by node would be better to look at, so we added that in here. And when you're looking at this was a similar issue where we had this panel would take a long time to load if you had a lot of modems on a CMTS. So we went ahead again, as part of that, we improved the performance of this. So you'll see on this panel and some others that a couple of things. First, there's a value and a percent that you can select. Also, what you're looking at here is you're looking at basically your online modems and then your offline modems, attempting partial, meaning that it's only connecting it's not connecting to all channels that it's supposed to be if it's bonded. And then unauthorized, again, somebody that doesn't have a name and address in the system. So this is your total up here, and then you've got for each one of these nodes down here. So you can pretty quickly see in this panel if you've got any issues, because these numbers will turn yellow and red if they reach a certain threshold. So we don't have any problems here, but again, you've got a value and a percent. Sometimes the percent is helpful. You've got that on some of these other panels here, like bandwidth utilization and your modem status by channel. That can be helpful, again, to kind of compare, to kind of see relatively what's going on. In this case, again, we don't have any issues. We've got pretty consistent 3% offline on here, so probably pretty much normal. We had, in looking at that, the number, we have 10 devices on this first node, and when I click the percent, that's showing me 3%. And I can click on any one of these, and that will pull up a report displaying who is making up that number, 10. So I can click on the 10, or in this case, I've got the 3% up. I can click on that. And what that's going to do, again, is bring up a report. And right now, I see, again, I've got several unauthorized modems, but I do have 3 subscribers that I've blurred out here. And as on any report, I can click on these and go directly to the subscriber's modem diagnostic screen. And also on any report, I can click the little map button up here. And when I do that, that's going to map those subscribers. So that's helpful if, again, you're looking at maybe an unusual number of offline modems or attempting modems or something like that, and trying to see if they're geographically close. In this case, we know, I mean, we're looking at a node report, so we know they're close to each other. And we see that they are kind of grouped together here, but of course, you know, there's probably lots of other customers on this street, so we're just looking at not an unusual situation here, which would be offline devices among this node. So, but again, you can map that. I've obviously got most of the map blurred out here, but just showing this section right here. So you can also get to this report through the Network Navigator right up here, and that's the little hamburger menu. You can pretty much see this from all parts of the application. And here's how you would navigate to various network elements. In this case, we've just got one CMTS. A lot of times you'll see some CMTSs. You might see some OLTs, some fiber equipment. There's only one CMTS on this network. And if I were to click the DOCSIS, you probably know you get your CMTS screen that I was just looking at a minute ago. Or I can click the down arrow. When I click the down arrow, then that's going to expand, and I can get some information on my MAC domains. I can plot some MAC domain charts, I believe is what pulls up there. And I've got nodes. If I click nodes here, I'm going to get to that same report that I was just looking at for all nodes, or I can, again, click the down arrow, and I can select a specific node right here. So that's just another way to get to that node report is through the Network Navigator. And I also want to show something else that we added on the fiber side for, and this is for Calix equipment and probably Adtran too. And let me mention also that in this last update we had several things that we added support for Adtran 9500. So if you have a 9500 and if you're a Xecorum customer already, have a 9500, contact your business account manager and they can get you set up where we can start viewing that information in TruVizion. This is a Calix system here, so same thing. If you have DOCSIS and don't have Calix, but you've got Calix equipment, we can get you set up for that as well. If you're not a TruVizion user and need to see any of this information, send an email to info@xecorum.com or give us a call. We're happy to get you set up with TruVizion. Let you try it for 30 days if you want to do that. So again, we're looking here at the Ont Diagnostic screen, and one of the things that we have improved here, because this is we're still adding a lot on the fiber side. We started with DOCSIS, we've been adding fiber. We've got the OLT screen up this year with the full view or aggregated view of statistics from the OLT, and this is the ONT screen here. And this is still being worked on where we're showing, we need to show the proper map pin color here. You can see this device has got some issues here. There's some red and yellow. But what was corrected was on the drill-in feature here. When I drill in on the map, it is reflecting the correct colors here. So all of the devices that would be surrounding this, and there's more surrounding it, I've got everything blurred out, but all of the devices that would be surrounding this will be correctly color-coded with the, if they're under an alert or a warning stage. So in this case, here's my customer, and you can see their information right here. And then you can always click on another map pin and you can pull up their information. I noticed that for this particular operator, all these folks are in apartments. So a lot of them are having an issue right now. You can see this is a particular apartment. You can see it's one of two. And I clicked on some of these and it was one of 37 or something like that. So when you have, you know, sometimes at these apartments you'll have, the way it's just geocoded is that all of them, every apartment is located in the same place on the map. So when you see that, you'll have one of however many here, and you can page through that, and then you'll see the address change. In this case, the apartment numbers might be changing as you go. So again, these now reflect the proper state of the device. And on any of these, so if you're clicking through, you know, a lot of times the way it would really normally work if it's not an apartment is you'll have a whole set of map pins around here that are, you know, freestanding homes or whatever. In which case you can click on the individual map pins, and in this case you can click the arrows, and in any of those, regardless of how you're doing it, whenever you get to that subscriber you want to look at, you can click view detail, and that will pull up that subscriber. So if you get to the map by clicking on the map little map. Let me go back where I was here. So if you click on a map by getting here and then get to this state, this will show you your customer right here. You can click on any other customer and click View Detail, and then you can pull up that customer as well. So again, that's a nice helpful thing for you to do to be able to see who is in the area that might be experiencing the same problem. And you can always click on the Report tab up here to pull that into a list. And anytime you have the Report tab pulled up, or really in this case it will do the same thing, you can always download a CSV file, or you can print that in order to maybe hand that to somebody to take a look at it. So, all right, well that's it for those particular items. Again, the other three things that we did were related to the Adtran 9500, and I don't think we have any of those significantly in production right now, so that does not that's not really relatable to a lot of you folks. But if you do have one, give us a call. We'd love to get you set up on that, because it is now a supported platform. I apologize for the blue screen of death on my end. That's the second time that's happened recently. One time, though, thankfully, the time a few weeks ago was before the broadcast, and I was able to get the system back up before I started. So I don't know what's going on there. It's a little concerning. But I will be back next week, hopefully with a stable system here. I'll be back next week, and my special guest, I was supposed to do that today. I forgot to mention at the outset of this, if you tuned in for it. I was going to be talking with Rebecca Johnson from Numerical today, who is an expert on Stir Shaken, which is the policy in the FCC that they're putting together to try to prevent caller ID fraud related to robocalls, those kinds of things. So she's going to be joining me next week. She had something come up, so we will be talking next week about that. That'll be next Tuesday at 3 o'clock, so I hope you can join me. And if you would like to subscribe, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. And if you like the fact that the broadcast stopped in the middle, you can click the little thumbs up. Hopefully, hopefully that won't happen again. But I will go ahead, like I say, I will go ahead and edit this video. So you may be watching the video, and it's like, oh, I didn't really see that much. But it's because I edit it for the recording. So I'll edit it when I'm done here, and I'll cut out all the mess in the middle where I lost the signal. So thanks for joining me, and I'll be back next week. Take care. Bye-bye.